Friday is a day that 400,000 people have been waiting for since March of 2016, because Tesla is going to finally start giving away production line Model 3s to reservation holders. They first announced the Model 3 16 months ago to huge fanfare. More than 130,000 people put $1,000 down before the car was even revealed. And full disclosure, I'm one of them. Actually, I didn't order it before the car was revealed. I insisted I was going to actually see the car first before I ordered it, and then I saw it and I was like, sweet, yeah, I like it, let's do this. I can always get the deposit back if I change my mind. Now, before you start calling me a Tesla fanboy in the comments, yeah, I'll cop to it. I'm a fan, I always have been, and I'm going to assume that most people watching this are, unless you just like watching things that piss you off. So this is kind of a big deal. And I wanted to talk about this event, what it means to Tesla, what it means to the car industry as a whole, and just to, throw in my own 2 cents and concerns along the way. So hold on tight, because this video is going into ludicrous mode. So I was actually going to record a totally different video this week, but with this news coming up, with this event, it seemed like this would be a good time to talk about the Model 3 and Tesla. And actually, this sort of piggybacks on a podcast that I recorded last week that's going to be released this week with Ben Sullins from Teslanomics. If you're watching this in the future, I will link to it right here. I'm also going to be revealing clips from it in a live stream later on this week. So Tesla's been around for about 10 years now, almost the same amount of time as the iPhone. And similarly to the iPhone, it's kind of hard for us to put our minds back into the mindset, the way things were before Tesla came along. Because once upon a time, electric cars looked like this. And they were kind of a joke. They were basically a golf cart with a hood over the top of it, and nobody really wanted to get one. They didn't have any range. They didn't have any real functionality for the real world. And then Elon Musk, who was quite a young buck at the time, came along and said, no, I want to do a really cool, badass electric car company, which was crazy on several levels. First of all, because everybody thought about this when they thought about electric cars. And the second is because starting a new car company is one of the hardest things to do in the world. And it had been a really long time since somebody had successfully created a new car company. But Elon came in with a 3-part master plan. And the plan looked like this. You start with a very small volume but high price car that's only really attainable to very wealthy select individuals, but one that's really cool and spurs the imagination and gets people excited about electric cars again. The second is to put out a car that would be more for everyday driving, still pretty high level price, a very luxury price, but also a mid-volume amount of cars to put out, something that anybody could go buy if they wanted to and had the money. And then follow that up with a mass market car, high volume and low price, something that anybody could buy and that serves all the needs that a gas car can. So the Model 3 was always the end game. And the cars that came before it, the Roadster, the S, and the X, which was not really part of the 3-part plan, he called it a 2.5 part of the plan, set the course for innovations and got the whole company ready and the infrastructure ready for the mass market car that they wanted to put out. It sounds cliche and overdramatic to say that everything that came before this has been preparing for this moment, but it's kind of true. And they came up with some really great innovations along the way and opened up their patents to other companies, which is kind of unheard of. Things like autopilot, the semi-autonomous driving system that's kind of paving the way for self-driving cars. And the supercharger network, and something that doesn't get talked about nearly enough is over-the-air updates. One thing that Tesla owners seem to love the most about their cars is that updates to the car happen overnight, over the air, and they're able to do things because it's kind of a computer on wheels that other cars aren't able to do. Like, they can increase the efficiency of the car by simply changing the code in the computer. Now, kind of famously, Elon wanted to name the Model 3 the Model E, because then you would have SEX as the names of the cars, but he couldn't get away with that because Ford still owned the trademark to the Model E, so he had to go with the Model 3, but of course they did it with the sideways, so it still kind of looks like sex. So it was March of last year when they finally announced and revealed the Model 3, showed us what it's going to look like, and here were the specs. It's expected to go from 0 to 60 in 6.2 seconds. Elon says they do not make slow cars. Get at least 215 miles per charge, and it's going to be offered with a 60 kilowatt battery and a 75 kilowatt battery pack. Now, one of the most controversial things about the car is that it doesn't have an instrument panel, like a regular dashboard instrument panel like most cars do. It only has a single sort of monitor right there displayed in the middle of the car, which I admit is weird, and it's something I'm not quite 100% on board with, but the reason for it is kind of interesting, because ultimately in a few years, 5 years, however long it's going to be, Elon and Tesla hope that this car will be fully autonomous. Because each car is going to come with all the autonomous hardware that's needed. It's just a matter of the software catching up with it. And again, it's just a matter of updating the software overnight over the air. So you literally one day could have a car that you drive, and then the next day the car will just drive itself. And the idea is you don't really need an instrument panel right in front of you if you're not the one that's driving. So this design element, as weird as it might be, is kind of future-proofing the car. And in fact, another part of the grand plan that Elon has kind of added onto the original one is something that he calls the Tesla network. And the idea is if you own a Model 3, all the time that it would be just sitting in a parking lot somewhere or sitting in your garage, you could literally let other people get in it and let it drive them around just like it's a driverless Uber or something like that. And you could be making money with your car. And the first thing everybody's going to say is, I don't want strangers in my car. Well, then you don't have to do it. Now, in the last year since they announced this, the Tesla stock has absolutely exploded to the point that Elon himself is saying it's pretty much out of control. And this is a good thing in terms of giving them capital that they can use to build this car, but it's also a pretty tenuous situation. It would be hard to overstate just how big a risk this whole thing is. If it doesn't meet the production schedule, if it doesn't get out there in time, if there's some kind of problem, some kind of flaw that needs to be recalled with this car, that could possibly sink the company or at least put it into some serious jeopardy. Fact of the matter is, Tesla's always been this sort of niche player in the car world, but now they're in the big leagues. Another issue is that they've always kind of relied a little bit on tax incentives. The problem is those tax incentives start to kind of taper down after they sell 200,000 vehicles, which they're going to be doing over the next year or so. There are some doom and gloom people and Tesla haters that say that this is going to completely crush the company. I don't think it's quite that bad, but it's definitely going to be a challenge they're going to have to deal with. Now, one encouraging thing is that they did actually make their production schedule on this. For the S and especially the X, they had massive delays. Now, they're rolling it out slowly. It's only 30 cars this month. Clearly, that's not very many at all. But it's supposed to be, I think, 100 the next month, and then it's going to double and increase going out like that. They're going to roll it out slowly, which I actually agree with because I want them to get it right. And the order of people that are going to get it is Tesla employees first. It's kind of cool if you work there. Then current Tesla owners are going to get theirs second, and then it's going to go out to the reservation holders, and even then it's going to start from the west in California and work its way east. I got a while. But perhaps more important than anything, even if this is a total bust, even if it completely sinks Tesla, they have been able to affect a change in an inertia in an industry that has been stagnant for a very long time. Because ever since the Model 3 was announced last year, more and more car companies have been getting on the electric bandwagon. Nissan has an electric car, Chevy has an electric car, Volkswagen is introducing an electric car, BMW. Volvo recently announced that in the next few years, all their cars are either going to be electric or plug-in hybrids. That's an amazing shift in this industry. But I also really want to give Elon and Tesla credit for being really smart in things like the Gigafactory that they're building. They're actually producing their own batteries and batteries that they can sell to other car companies. And then they expanded out from there to homes. They got the Tesla Powerwall. They're now introducing Tesla solar roof tiles. So I do give kudos to them for thinking outside of just the car and seeing what all they can affect change in. But I also do have some concerns. And I'm on a reservation list. I'm not expecting mine until probably the beginning of next year. But I'm not quite sure I'll be able to afford it. The price starts at $35,000. Now, my last car, I actually bought new at $25,000. But I'm expecting I'll probably have to get the 75-watt battery for my car because I live in Texas, I have family all over the place, and of course the bigger battery means it's a bigger trim level and it's going to cost more money. I'm a little concerned about that, to be honest. I'm also not completely sold on the interior. Teslas have always, in my opinion anyway, looked a lot better on the outside than on the inside. The insides of Teslas are kind of Spartan, and especially the Model 3, you don't even have a dashboard on it. So I definitely want to test drive one before I make the leap. And I've heard many people, including Ben, say that the better deal might actually be to get a used Model S. Now, there are a lot of myths around electric cars, especially Teslas, especially for those people that just don't like Teslas. I get it. But I'm going to link to a video right here from the YouTube channel Like Tesla, where they break down the myths that they hear the most about owning a Tesla, and they own Teslas so they can speak to those myths. But if you're interested in this kind of thing, definitely check out this podcast because Ben actually mentions something that might get revealed at the Model 3 event, possibly, that would be a huge game changer. So that got me really excited about it, but it's on the podcast. Definitely go check it out when it comes out later this week. So what do you think about this event coming up? Are you excited? Are you a Model 3 holder yourself? Are you looking forward to getting this car? Do you have some reservations like I do in your reservation? See what I did there? Anyway, talk about it in the comments down below. All right, thank you guys for watching. And if this is your first time here, please check out some of my other videos. You might like them. I talk about technology and science and stuff like that. And if you like those, then maybe subscribe, because I come back with videos just like this every Monday. Special thanks to the Answer Files who support this channel on Patreon. And I'd like to give special thanks to the people who joined just this week. I've got Nomobiku, Danny, Mike Savinko, Evan Sveum, and Krethis. Interesting names. There are over 130 people supporting this channel right now on Patreon. That blows my mind. And they get my secret vlog that nobody else gets to see. They see the full, unedited interview video segments from my podcasts for free that nobody else gets to see. And when I do actually manage to finish a video early, which is never, they get to see it first. But that's on me. And last but not least, this channel is supported by cankerboy.com. If you get canker sores and mouth ulcers on a regular basis, I can speak, I don't have one right now. This is a daily pill that keeps that from happening. It's a subscription service, costs 30 cents a day, and you can actually live life pain-free and not be suffering anymore. Just go to cankerboy.com, check it out, see it for yourself. All right, like and share this video if you liked it. Check out the live stream later this week with clips from my interview with Ben. And I want to thank you guys once again for watching. You guys go out and have an eye-opening week. I will see you next Monday. Love you guys. Take care.